So that's what we're going to be working on tonight. It's going to be a little less instructional than last night's was, but hopefully I should still get around to answering some questions or doing some instructions on how I do the stuff that I do. So why does Twitch do this to me every single time on the app? It's very annoying. Okay, so while I try to get the frickin' chat up, let's go over to also I should probably quit that. Let's get over to Manga Studio so that we can get to tonight's artwork, because it's an art stream. Okay, here we go. All right, so I guess I wanted to start off with there it is. No. There we go. I guess I wanted to start off with actual Mass Effect and Trauma related stuff. Because every time I try to sit down and like draw a comic or something for the stream, I'm like, hey, Wyverian, hi, what's up? Welcome to the stream. So anyway, as I was saying, like anytime I try to do like a comic for the stream, I end up like blanking at the last minute, and then I can never get it done. So maybe next time I'll like do some prep work and actually have a comic ready, but because that was my initial idea. But instead, I decided to do a Draw Your Squad, and it's my twin writers and my the shepherd I've been playing the most, and actually this is the shepherd I've been playing in the vids on YouTube. There we go. So Jean Shepherd, as she appears in Mass Effect 3. And the whole reason why I wanted to draw them all together is because I had the DLC for Mass Effect Andromeda. It comes with this appearance pack appearance pack, I say. It comes with an extra appearance for your writer, and it's or another outfit for your writer, I should say, and it's this hoodie. And it just, I'm sorry you're tired. And it reminded me of the hoodie that I put my shepherd in ME3. That was my favorite outfit because it really suited her, because I kind of pictured her as this punk from Earth, because she's Earthborn. All right, so yeah, so they're all wearing hoodies, and yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do is I've got the base sketch down, and I'm basically gonna show you guys how to draw a lips, and then B, my better coloring technique. So not the watercolor technique, but a different one. And this is like, big plump lips instead of like just the line for a mouth, which I don't mind doing most of the time, but every now and then it's like, if you wanted the character to look extra feminine or something, then drawing the plump lips is good. But you know what? Actually, I think I'm just gonna keep it as just a bottom lip, because sometimes that's enough to create more of a feminine look to a character. And this is my femme twin writer, and this is my male twin writer, who is actually the one I've been playing as, is the male twin. And in a second here, I'll draw the one thing that they have in common. And then Jean Shepherd in all her ME3 glory, where I gave her a ponytail instead of a bun, which I was actually very excited and happy about, because I kind of love the but the ponytail in ME3. Video's acting weird. Oh, okay. It's fine now? Video seems to be lagging behind the audio. Oh, that's not good. I mean, it could just be that, you know, you think that the video is lagging behind the audio, because, like, I talk about stuff before I do it sometimes. I could be wrong though. I don't know what issue you're running into, and if I was to check, then we get like some feedback issues or some echoing. So I'd rather not subject you guys to that. No. N7. I'm not really good at drawing logo stuff. Sorry. Yeah, I gave both of my twin writers that weird like necklace tattoo, just because I thought it kind of. I was like, they gotta have something in common, and then I thought that the neck tattoo suited them, so I was like, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so it's just a little thing, but helps to tie them together as twins. Okay, so now we're gonna get into how I color when it's not watercolor. The only problem with this is that I gotta do the finished line art, because otherwise it just doesn't look right. So we're gonna turn this blue and lower the opacity a little, and we're gonna come up here. And I'm gonna grab my... Yeah, I tried streaming through Twitch recently, and when I checked the page without muting the tab, I felt like I was descending into hell. Oh, that's not good. I don't know, I was just getting used to streaming on, Goddamn gnats. God, how do they keep getting in here? Like every morning I go to my sink and there's like 5 of them. I'm getting really tired of this bullshit. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I had just gotten used to streaming on YouTube when Alch was like, let's start streaming on Twitch. And I was like, no, I just got used to the one thing. Like, this is not something I'm actually, like, this is not something I'm good at. I'm not technical. I'm really not. I know my mom thinks I am, but that's just because my mom destroys every electronic that she touches. It's not hard to beat that on a technical level. Now the key to getting very smooth lines is basically is to do a line in one smooth movement, so that you're not adding in, because otherwise, I mean, otherwise it comes out kind of shaky. So the best way to do it is just to do it in one movement. Which is why sometimes you'll see me like, or hear me, probably. You guys can probably hear when I hit the keys. Like if I get a line wrong, I'll like quickly hit Control-Z to go back and fix whatever it was that I fucked up. And it's not like I can't go back and like fix a mistake later. It's fine, Red. I'm sure you'll find your comfort zone. So this is the official line art now, and then before it was the sketch. Yes, because the thing is like I go through like 3 different layers of sketch. Like I have the base art, base blueprint, and then I have what I call the final, and then I have like a basic sketch, and then I have like a final sketch. Just so that I can get it down. And then the line art is when I go over it and make everything look finished. So this is where I go like smooth and more like, well, basically more like a finished product. So it's smoother, I guess you could say. Like, I want it to look like I went in with an ink pen and actually inked it. And it just creates a better, more smooth look. Like if I want to keep things sketchy, I'll sometimes I will stick to that. But I've done it before. But a lot of times I want it to look like well, basically more professional or cleaner. I should say clean, you know, because I like clean lines for stuff. And when you see the coloring technique I'm about to use, it looks better with that than if I'd gone in with say watercolors. If I'm just doing like a quick sketch and I'm keeping it sketchy, then I'll use watercolors because I don't have to be quite as precise. But but this technique is actually a little bit faster. Other than the pain of having to go in and do the final line art. Oh God, sorry. I don't mean to like make words lose their meaning. Fluid? Yeah, fluid. We're gonna have a fluid motion to the lines. How about that? Or clean lines. Just digging a hole for myself here, aren't I? There we go. Fluid, yes, good word. That's good. Yeah, there we go. So I know a lot of people have been complaining about Andromeda, but I like it. No game is going to be perfect, and I think a lot of the complaints are from this like real specific section of BioWare's fan base that basically think like all games are like BioWare games, and in reality they're not. And I think a lot of them forget that like BioWare is still under EA's thumb, so they still have to like please a lot of investors that are kind of not in the same circles that a lot of BioWare fans basically get in. And I think it's a little bit like an echo box chamber. Like people get in this habit of only listening to these ideas that are a lot like their own, so that they forget that there's people out there that don't agree with them. And I mean, yeah, you should critique the game, but I think it's also good to point out that Mass Effect and BioWare is one of those huge games that takes chances on stuff that a lot of other gaming companies don't, when they still have to answer to other people. How did you get so good with the clothing folds? That that a lot, like everything is just practice. I think it came from basically looking at other people's artworks and reading tutorials and watching, you know, art streams to figure out basically just how to make my art look better, because I got to this point where I think I realized that I would never be able to afford an artist to draw my webcomic for me, which I've been working on that since I was in high school and fine-tuning it. And I've got a lot of it written now, and as much as I would love to be working on it, and I was working on it before I started doing the stuff with Alch, because now with him, I just don't, and my job, I just don't have time to work on it anymore. But when I wanted to do that as like when I wanted to do the webcomic as by myself, I basically told myself, you have to learn to get better. And it was kind of like this big surge of improvement in a very small time because of basically all the instructional videos I was watching. It was basically like sending myself to art school again. And I did go to art school. I didn't just go to art school to learn how to write. When I first went, I actually went because I wanted to be an illustrator. And, well, I wanted to be a writer-illustrator. Like, I always wanted to be a writer. I just thought I wanted to be an illustrator, too. So I kept telling myself, oh, I'm going to be like Jack Kirby. I'm going to be a writer-illustrator, and I'm, you know, going to go to art school, and I'm going to get the illustration degree first, and then I'll get the writing degree. And I went, and it was basically like this horrible, like, wake-up call, because I was going to school with, like, all these people had gone to art classes before, and the only art class I had taken was this, like, community college art class that, I mean, I learned basically nothing I didn't already know, and I'd never taken an art class before, so to kind of tell you, like, the kind of quality of an education I was getting in that class, it was just not good. Like, it was all fine art stuff that I already knew how to do because I'd been doing painting for a while, and I already knew the difference between acrylic and oil. I knew what, you know, charcoal was, and that's basically all the instruction was. It was like, here, draw, and it was basically like, you know, a kindergarten art class for college students, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted to learn how to draw for comic books, and so I went to the Academy of Art University because I knew they would teach me how to do that. They have specifically a degree for that, but you know, when I got there, was all these people who had all these different art classes before and had been drawing for much longer than I had, and were a lot more passionate about it than I was. And I realized I was far more invested in writing the stories than I was in drawing them. And it felt kind of like a cheat to me to go to this school and be in these classes with these people who were so much more talented than I was. And basically try and get a degree in something that was just going to be like only a part of what I wanted to do. So I was like, well, that seems stupid. So I went back home because basically I ran out of, well, it was expensive being on campus because the campus was San Francisco, and San Francisco is expensive, and I couldn't find a job up there. So I came back home, and I got a couple of part-time jobs, and I basically put myself through art school. I mean, it also helped that my mom had a college fund saved up, so I used my college fund, and I stayed at home, and my mom actually started taking her master's course at the same time, so my mom and I were going through school at the exact same time, so we were both laughing that Jerry Brown, the governor of California, his signature is on both my mom's bachelor degree and her master's degree, and on my bachelor degree. So we were laughing about that. We thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, so I learned some techniques when I went to art school, and then later it was basically like I have all these resources, I might as well use them to get better. And it really is just practice. Like, every day I get a little bit better, you know, or I figure out something and it makes me just that little bit better than I was. You know, because I'm still making improvements every day. You know, it's not like I don't have, it's not like there's not room for improvement where I am. You know, and there's always more things to learn. It's one of the reasons I'm starting to get into indie games. Like, I played on called One Shot recently. That was basically made by 3 people. It changed me as a human being. I was talking before about administration controlling the content of games. Oh. Well, that's neat. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the one good thing about BioWare is like, they do try to include people in ways that a lot of games don't. Because what I like to point out to everyone that complains so much about how there's not enough representation in BioWare games is I like to point out there's like 0 representation in some other games, and they don't like ever make noise about it because it's not a game that they would play. And I'm like, you either have to hold them to the same standards like we do movies, or you have to shut up because you're basically saying that not all games are equal. They are. You know, it's just different genres of games. You know, it's just like in the movies. You know, you have different genres of movies, you have different genres of games. They're all an art form, and they should all be critiqued with the same understanding, because it's not like those games exist in a vacuum. You know, BioWare and Mass Effect games exist in the same freaking world where we have GTA 5. Or, sorry, Grand Theft Auto series. Like, you want to talk about not good representation, that's a game right there. You know, I'm not saying that it's not a good game. I'm sure there's plenty of people who enjoy it. I'm not one of those people, but for what it is, it's a good game from what I hear. It's just, you know, I'm sure it doesn't have the best representation in it. You know, and neither does the, like, games like Saints Row. You know, it's, you gotta understand that this is the same type of industry that has games like that. You know, you also have, you know, just pure sports games, or you have JRPGs, which, you want to talk about no representation of any LGBT characters, just look at JRPGs, you know? It's like, they either don't mention the character's sexuality at all, or it's, you know, a girl that you can lust after, and just pretty boys. And there's, like, gay baiting, but it's not actual, like, gay representation. I'm sure there's JRPGs that do it, but I haven't run into any, and that's probably because I don't play a lot of JRPGs. So, you know, it's just, you have to keep in mind that none of these games, none of these companies exist in a vacuum. They have so many people to please, especially BioWare. Like, BioWare is trying to please not just, you know, the people I see complaining on Tumblr about there being a lack of representation, but they also have to please the guys that are like, we want to do sexy girl aliens. I highly recommend One Shot, but it is hard to record or stream due to how it interacts with your computer. I'll have to recommend it to Alch. And I think that's one of the things I like doing, like, that I like about playing games with Alch and streaming them with him, is like, I get exposed to games I would never really play. So, and it's good for me because then I get, you know, a sense of, like, where the industry is at, because you know, my job has to deal with stuff like that. I can't really talk about my job, but it has to deal with stuff like that anyway. I don't know. It's just, sometimes I get annoyed when I see people just the sheer amount of like vitriol I see for games like Mass Effect, and when I saw like a lot of the agitation about Dragon Age Inquisition, and I was just like, really? Really? Especially Dragon Age Inquisition. I think I got really mad at people that were like, it lacks representation. I think I really did lose my shit when people complained about it, because I was like, it has the first pansexual, out pansexual that the character creators actually came out and said, yes, this character is pansexual in video game history ever. And you're gonna say it lacks representation. Get the fuck out and go away. Because for me as a pansexual, it's so hard to find good representation anywhere. Like, basically we don't exist, and representation does matter. Okay, yes, Dragon Age Inquisition could have had more Asian characters, but I think that's true for a lot of video games and movies nowadays. They could have a lot more Asian characters in them. Just for example, I'm a Marvel fan. I love Marvel. But I didn't want to go see Stephen Strange in theaters because I was upset that there weren't more Asian characters in it. Particularly because an Asian freaking character was played by a white woman. And it's one of those situations where it's like, if it was an Asian woman, I wouldn't have been mad. In fact, I might have actually been excited about it. But no, you replaced an Asian man with a white woman, and I'm not okay with it. I am not okay with it at all. Like, not to mention the fact that I got kind of mad at the casting of Dr. Stephen Strange anyway, because I was like, Benedict Cumberbatch does not seem like the right guy for Stephen Strange. Just, he's too young? Like, in my head, Stephen Strange has always been kind of a silver fox, so I'm just like, no? Too young and too British? And I'm like, no? Like, he's not dark enough. And I was like, I really wanted Oda Fair, who's like Middle Eastern, so it would have made it like a little less, all of our heroes are a bunch of white guys. Just a little. That's all I'm asking for. It would have been so great, man. Would have been so great. We could have had Oda Fair, man. But no, Benedict Cumberbatch. Ugh. I think,
It's 2030.
Yeah, I'll wait till it comes out, and then I'll go watch it on DVD, and then I can say more about it. But I was just not so happy with the casting. I'm sorry, Red, I have a headache. I think I should go to bed. Oh, you would love One Shot, Red. Sorry, bad. And as for the representation, I'm working on that. I have a few things in my writing repertoire. That's cool. Alright, you go to sleep. I know having headaches isn't great. I'm fighting one myself right now, so you go get your sleep. Thanks for joining me. Alright, so still working on the line art for this. I was hoping Quinn could join me tonight, but they weren't feeling it, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I know that sometimes they get tired from the amount of work they gotta do. So, and I know she's gotta go to work tomorrow, so I'm okay with it. Wish she could have dropped by at all this week, but okay, I'm fine. Lonely. I am so lonely. I have nobody to call my own. do, 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 do. Eh. How many people are watching? Just me and Nightbot. No. That's not good. Let's see what Tabby's up to. Yep. Ooh. God, Mom's listening to the TV fairly loud. Okay, like really loud. Jesus, what the hell is she watching? It's like she gets more deaf every single freaking day. Okay, I get it. I got a text. Oh, dang it. Tabby can't come. Dang it, Tabby. Dang it. Leaving me all alone. Jesus fucking Christ. Mom's TV is loud. It's still just me and Nightbot. Yeah, it's still just me and Nightbot. Alright, I might call this. Alright, no one shows up in, what, 10 minutes? No, I guess 20. I'll make it an hour stream for you guys. Sorry if I haven't been chatting, it's just there's nobody to chat with. I don't know what to say when there's no one talking to me. Oh, I guess I'll just narrate whatever I'm doing. Alright, so right now I'm just finishing up the finished line art, which looks good. Yep. Everything kind of looks like where it belongs. So now we're gonna delete that layer. So it just leaves us with the line art. We're gonna delete that. And then we're gonna start on the coloring process. So this way is different than how I would normally do it. Well, how I did it in the last stream anyway. Not how this is actually how I normally do it. So basically I continue to use the pen tool and I just make it a little bit bigger. And then what I go in to do is, normally I go in and I put down a base color, and I'm not normally too precise about it because, I've said normally a lot. So I'm not usually too precise about it because, oh crap, I just realized I forgot the lines on the arm. My bad. Go back to black. Go back to 11.5. Yeah, there. There we go. Alright. Better. Alright, so, and on a layer that's beneath the line art, I go in, once I make this bigger, and I go in and I color wherever this color is going to be used. And this is going to be my like dark gray / black color. So, because Shepard wears a lot of that, we're going to go in and make sure that the hoodie is pretty dark. And then whenever I don't need it, or wherever I don't need it, that's where I go in and erase later. Make her boots the same color. I basically, because I can't remember what her boots like, but I basically made them kind of like a more high-tech version of combat boots that I actually have. Because in my mind, Shepard's kind of a marine / military type, even in her off hours. So, okay, so now that we put in the base color, and not very precisely, we're going to go in and erase. So it is precise. That means going in and erasing all of this. Not that I mind. And once you do this part, which, I mean, it's not all that hard to go in and erase a little bit. Once you've done this, then you can start on the shading and the highlighting. Which is a fairly easy process. After just getting the base colors down can normally take me a while because I have to go in and erase stuff, and I had to do it for every single color. And I normally do the base colors first before I do the highlighting and the shadowing, but I think for this particular stream, I'm just going to go ahead, and after I get this base color down, I'm going to show you how I go from this to shading and highlighting directly, so that you guys don't miss anything. Basically, this is my more clean way of coloring. So if I want more like sharp look, if I want a sharper look to the sharp, more clean look to the image, if I want it to be more slick, then I normally use this method instead of the watercolor painting method that I did in the last couple of streams. And I'm fairly certain I've shown this method on stream before, but and this particular method also allows me to do like more texture than the other one does, because when I do it this way, I can very, very easily, as in it'll show up a lot better if I go in later and decide to add in like a texture from an image, or say I wanted to add a pattern to a set of clothing. That's a lot easier to do once I have this sharper highlight and shadow contrast, which I will show here in a minute, as soon as I finish making sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Alright, so now that I've done that, zoom out and do the hoodie. I didn't go too far out of the lines here, so this should be a little bit easier. Just go in and clean it up so everything is in the lines. And this will give us a nice sharp edge to our very flat color. Makes it a little more solid, a little more vibrant than the watercolors are. Watercolors tend to get fairly pastel in appearance just because the density isn't as great as when you're working with like acrylics or oil, or in this case when you're using the digital facsimile that's the word I was trying to say, facsimile of the two. Jesus, what? That was so hard. Why was that hard? God, that was way too difficult for what I was trying to say. Good God. Like, for real, man. That was not pretty. I don't know what that was like at all, but it was not. I don't appreciate that mouth brain combo. That was not a good combo. I don't know what you're doing, but you need to get your life together. Oh, yeah, Mom's TV is very loud. Because I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but I can. I can very distinctly hear what's going on her TV. Which, I'm just going to point this out, it's all the way on the other side of the house. Because Mom... I mean, it's only 3 points off of, like, the highest freaking volume setting. Because she has it on 70, and 100 is as high as you can go. I think when I last left her, it was on 77. 70 freaking 7. It should not ever be that high unless you are literally going deaf. Which maybe she is. It would explain a lot. Maybe she should have her hearing tested. Ugh. Not that I don't love my mother, but Jesus Christ. It's really hard to sit out and watch TV with her anymore because the TV is just so loud. I don't know how she can deal with it after dealing with teenagers all day. Alright, so once you have cleaned up the color so it's all nice and within the lines, then you're going to create a new layer and lock it, and you're going to go multiply. This is a lot similar to what I did with the watercolors. In a way, it's a lot the same, but this is going to be very different because instead of like fading it in, because you can't do that with sharp tones like this, what you're going to do is basically create the shape of the shadows with your pen tool. And you want to make these really sharp. And you want to keep in mind where your light source is, which I used to have the hardest time doing. And a great way to start off if you're having a tough time figuring out like where your light source is coming from is just to like draw a circle. It'd help if I did it on a layer that you can see it. Draw a circle, and then that's where your light source is, and then you can kind of direct it. So since the light source is up here, that means the light is coming from this way, which means the shadows are going to come up from here. So, I mean, eventually you can learn to do it without that, but sometimes I still use it because sometimes I get a little frustrated or a little confused about, especially if I have multiple light sources. I'm like, what is happening with the light again? Let me just figure this out. So, you know, if you have to use certain, visual tools when you're drawing, there's nothing wrong with that. I assure you, a lot of artists still use certain tools just to get the job done. Because nobody wants to make, their life more difficult. Everyone's going to try and make their life easier, Which is basically why the wheel got invented. Like, the wheel got invented to make our lives easier. That's the reason we have it. And this does take a little bit more time than the watercolor approach, but the results look a lot cleaner and in my view, slightly more professional I mean, it looks a lot more like a finished digital piece than if you'd gone in and painted it by hand. Except I've seen like people who use ink pens, and it just looks amazing. There's this artist called Imo on DeviantArt. I think she's Momo Channers on Tumblr, and she does this work with markers by hand that looks like it's digitally done, and it's beautiful. And when she does her work digitally, she does the same effect, and I just love her artwork. You know, she actually got me into to Mass Effect. I'm only into Mass Effect because of Momo Channers. I love her. And you always want to keep in mind the shape of whatever it is that you're working with and the different textures that you're working with, because metal will have like a different shading effect than cloth or denim. So you always want to keep in mind how those different textures develop a light source. So, or react to a light source, I should say, not develop a light source. They don't develop a light source, they just react to it. So it's always a good idea to basically, well, again, this is another case of go online and look at some tutorials. Because there's some really good ones out there that teach you some good light shading and lighting techniques. So basically what you want to just try to do is just block in the areas where the shadow should be. And if you end up taking away from the lighter color a lot, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it tends to create a better effect when you block off whole areas in shadow, because that's more realistic. It's why I tend to start off with a lighter color than the one I'm actually going to end up needing or the one that I actually want, because inevitably, because of all the shadows, it's going to come off a little bit darker, and that base color is only going to really show up in the very light areas. So it's basically like you're drawing over your drawing. There you go. All right, so now that we've got the base shadows blocked in, so, it looks like there's some shadows. You're going to shift and combine. We're going to create a new layer. And we're going to lock it. And we're going to make this one multiply 2. And then this is where we're going to get into the selection tool. And you can be a little messy so long as it doesn't get out of your lines. Because I want to be a little bit more precise with this than when I was using the same tool for the watercolor, because like I said, a lot of this is more precise than when you're painting with the watercolor tools in Manga Studio. Obviously, if you're using another well, actually, this is the technique I would use in other programs too, is this multiple layers and basically developing multiply on top of multiply, because a lot of different programs have that multiply function. I know Photoshop does anyway, and I know Photoshop also has screen. So this is something that a lot of different art programs have in common. So what we're going to do is foreground to transparent gradient tool. We're going to go up, and this is basically blending that shadow that we created into the rest of the color. So we're adding that shadow deviation. And that helps to basically create a more three-dimensional appearance to your piece. And this is where knowing where your light source is very important, because like I pointed out, my light source would be like just about there. So it's shining this way. That means the light part's on top and the shadows are on bottom. And you have to keep in mind, like, what is on top of what? And so where would the shadows be for that? What's casting a shadow of its own? And how would that shadow look? And I'm this is still an area in which I'm trying to get better at myself, because, this is always something that you can improve on. And, basically artists, I think as an artist, you always want to try and continue to improving, because it's not like you can ever really reach perfection. And even if it's not perfect, that's fine. Or if it's got mistakes, that's fine too, because you'll get better. And, you'll learn that even if you see a ton of mistakes, other people probably still think it looks great. And that doesn't mean that you created an inferior product. That just means that, you can see where you need to improve. And you can still do that. And you do it by making the next piece even better than the last. And that doesn't mean that something that you did in the past when you weren't quite as good as you are now is bad. Because I certainly look at some of my stuff and I'm like, I can see how I've improved and where I needed to be better, but I still appreciate it for what it was, because that's a part of your learning process. And I think there's some pieces where I was like, wow, I can really see where my potential was. So, don't ever get down on yourself if you don't think something looks good, because, that just means that while you have room to improve, that doesn't mean that you're a bad artist. It just means that, you're an improving artist. Okay. Not that art is easy. Art is hard. It takes a little of hard work and time, as evidence here. All right, so now that we've gotten that done, then I would go in with screen and the airbrush tool on soft and go over it like I did with the watercolor. And basically I think, oh, hey, I missed people! Yo, hey, look, it's Izzy! Definitely makes the boot look rounder. Yes, thank you. Hello, people! I thought I was alone. I was about to hop off because I thought I was alone. I'm glad to see that I'm not. Just been sitting here talking to myself. This whole fucking time. When did you people get here? How long have you been watching me just talk to myself? You should tell people when you're there, man. Oh, now I feel all awkward. This is like motivational art time with Red. Aww, I'm glad. Like, I try to be motivational because I know I had a hard time when I first got started, you know? Like, it was difficult for me, and I only really got good in the last couple of years. And sometimes I still am like, I hate my art, you know? I still have days where I'm like, this sucks, I hate what I've done, and everything is awful. You know, I'm just like, everything sucks, I don't even understand why I do it, and then I have to remind myself that even if I suck now, I can still get better, you know? Because it's like when I was first learning how to play the violin, is even though I wasn't all that great at it, I knew I was gonna get better, and so I didn't mind that I sucked when I started, and I think that was mostly because I started when I was a kid, and, you know, as an adult, you're much more aware that you suck at something than when you're a kid, because when you're a kid, it's more like, yay, I'm doing the thing! I thought you were... I didn't think you were talking to yourself. I thought you were talking to us. I love it. I just need to start drawing every day. Drawing every day does help. But you also want to be careful that you don't overtax yourself, because I've done that before where I literally just could not use my hand for like a week because I overworked it so much. And like my arm was just like my whole arm just wanted to die. It was like when you do weights at the gym. Like, my whole arm was just like, why have you done this? What is wrong with you? I was like, I just wanted to do some more artwork, and it's like, slow the F down! Cause, yeah, that can happen. You can overwork yourself real easy. I've done it before. It's not fun. Oh, and I've done it real bad. Real bad. I have seriously fucked up my arm before. Like, I have given myself an arm strain, or I strained the muscle because, you know, basically all of the work I do, all of it, because I'm a writer, ghostwriter anyway, is like, and for fun, what I do is I draw or IRP, which requires my hands. So sometimes I just have to take, you know, like a day to not do anything with my hands because it hurts just so bad. Okay, you go do the thing and then come back. I will be here doing the art stuff. Learn to do something in your off time that doesn't use the same muscles as you do when you work. That's what I've learned. Of course, I do need to potentially maybe stop playing so many video games in my downtime too, because I've been overworking my arm muscles, I think, a little too much. Because if I'm not doing artwork or writing or RPing online, then I am usually playing video games. Which requires, again, my hands. I'm sure like when I get older, I'm gonna have some really awful arthritis. Just all up in my arms and hands. Particularly my hands. I'm gonna be one of those old ladies that like can't hold anything. Which feels awful to say, but for real, I feel like I'm heading there. I'm only 25. I'm not 25, I'm 27. God damn it, stop that. Stop lying about your age! I lied to myself, like, right before my birthday. I convinced myself I was turning 26 again, and then I had to be like, you're not turning 26, you're turning 27! And that was only after the Alch gang was like, why did you say you're turning 26? We're all 26, and you're the oldest of us, so you can't be turning 26. I was like, fuck, that's right, I'm 27. And I was like, no, I'm 3 years away from being 30. No, I'm almost old. This is nearly the time where I'm gonna start dying. Which is, of course, not true. Yeah, 30 is still fairly young, but yeah. I was just like, I had a little bit of a panic attack. 27, no! I always seem to tell people when you're older than I am. I used to do that too, up until I reached 25, and then my brain was like, younger! I'm like, I don't mean to do this on purpose, I swear. I don't mean to say that I'm that young, because I'm not. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the highlights, and this is the fun part. So we're going to go in on screen, and not the screen, but the type of layer is going to be on screen. We're going to go in, and with our airbrush tool, set to a very fine point, we're going to create these neat lines that are going to be our highlights. And basically, when you do like the highlights on the side nearest the shadow, what you're doing is basically creating the refracted light from when light bounces off of an object behind you or behind the object. Because these are leather boots, I'm trying to make them look a little more shiny than I will the hoodie. Because it's a different material. And leather tends to be slightly more shiny. Stop that. Than like fabric. Or, well, I mean, it depends on the fabric, but like cotton fabric tends to be less shiny than leather. Whereas like if you're using silk or satin, it'd be about the same level of shiny. Stop that. So I've been catching up on Archer because I didn't see the last season, season 6. And now that it's on Netflix, I've been watching it on repeat because I'm like, yay, Archer! I kind of love Archer in a way that I really shouldn't. I'm like, I know this show is kind of awful with its humor, but I don't care. Particularly Pam. I love Pam. Pam is my favorite character. She's fantastic. 27 is a pretty crap age though, and I can say that because I'm past it. Oh, really? Ooh, fun. I don't think 27 by itself is a crappy age. I think it's just that, like, I'm not exactly excited about it the way I was when I turned 25. I think I've finally reached that point where I'm no longer excited for my birthdays. I mean, I was excited to celebrate it this year because I went to Universal Studios and that was fun, but like the rest of it, I was like, I'm not all that excited about this, you guys. Alright, so that's the highlights, or at least some of them, because now that we've done that part, we're gonna go in and make it a little bit bigger. Stop that. Just very lightly, we're gonna add, stop that! Jesus H Christ. What's the H for? Stand for? I don't know. Just gonna add a little more highlights to the boots. Jesus Christ, what is she watching? Just all of a sudden, machine gun fire. Like, Jesus Christ. So because the hoodie is a bit more flat, basically what I'm doing with the highlights is trying to create an illusion of roundedness. Those arms tend to be round, and I swear to God, Manga Studio, if we don't stop doing that, I'm gonna be really pissed. Okie dokie. So then we're gonna go in, make this small again. My eye is itching. Alright, well, I'm just barely legal to drink, lol. You can recognize it and still love it. What I mean is that it's the first year of your late 20s. It's true. By 28, you're a lot more cool with it. Oh, okay. So it's just 27, huh? Oh, 27. I don't know what it is about you, but I don't like you. I think the only good part about this year is that this is basically the first year where I really get to actually be Red instead of instead of instead of being Megan, because I am bigender, and for me, you know, coming out as bigender has been a little bit difficult, because it's not like I ever really want to transition. I might want to get breast reduction, but that's more for comfort than anything else. Like, they're too big. They really are, and it hurts. But like, it's causing me some serious back issues. So it's more of a medical problem than a dysphoria problem. Although it is that too. But and so it's not like I'm ever gonna like transition fully, because it's not like I'm a guy 100% of the time. There's also times where I'm not a guy at all, and I think it's a little bit more difficult for people to accept. And I don't know, it's just been weird, like, coming out and finally getting to be myself. And I figured this year would be the year that I would really try and be myself. And I have, and it's been both good and bad, because like I've encountered some people that I used to know, and like including a guy that I actually used to have a crush on, who were just really rude and hurtful and basically assholes about it. Because I think a lot of people just don't understand it, and they can be kind of hostile about it. And like, I haven't experienced a lot of that, but I have experienced like enough of it that it's hurtful. And You know, I think a lot of people don't understand and they think it's just a Tumblr thing, but it's not. Like, I didn't discover bigender off of Tumblr. Discovered it through through my psychologist, and you know, it was after I got diagnosed with PCOS and had my hormones fixed, and it was basically like I thought it was just this syndrome that I had, and it turns out nope, it's a whole other thing. You just really are a guy half the time, and I don't know, it's difficult and different, and this was the first year where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be myself. So it's been both a blessing and a curse because I have been more myself. I really have been red, but that, you know, that's kind of like a double-edged sword. I get all the benefits of feeling and being myself, and also having to deal with these people that are not gonna, you know, accept me for who I am and are gonna be antagonistic or assholes about it. So, yeah, that's been a bit of a mixed bag, but I still think it was worth it to finally be myself. Think your name, we'll call you whatever pronouns and name you'd like. Honestly, I don't really understand it, but that's not an excuse for me to be rude. Yeah. I mean, like, if you say you don't understand it, that's fine, because, like, there's a lot of stuff that I don't understand that I'm like, cool, whatever, good for you. But, you know, and there's a difference between being like, I don't understand your thing, but you can go ahead and do your thing, and I don't understand your thing, and I'm gonna be an asshole about it. But basically, for me, bigender, it's not like I'm a million different genders. It's just half the time I feel like I'm a guy trapped in a woman's body, and then the other half of the time I feel like a woman. You know, that I was born as. And you know, because so half the time I have to deal with this like feeling of basically being trapped in a body I don't really feel matches who I am, and it's awkward and it's weird. And I mean, there's not a lot that I would actually do to change it, other than the breast reduction thing. But other than that, I don't feel like there's a lot that I would do to change. And so you know, it's weird, and it doesn't exactly feel right half the time, and then the other half of the time I feel fine. So it's not like being, you know, completely trans. I mean, I'm in the transgender umbrella, but it's not like I want to transition into a guy completely. It's just half the time I feel like I'm a guy. Okay, so patterns, and okay, so this is where we get into the fun texture department, and you see I've like, in my completely OCD way, with my insane amount of organization, I've picked out these free textures, which I will then use by, yeah, that one, I like that one. I'm gonna boot this up. No, I don't, no, don't, why you gotta do the thing? We're gonna shift and combine. And that's gonna simplify it, and we're gonna do that so it locks the layer so you only see it on this one. And then I don't want it to be the hoodie texture. So what we're gonna do after I zoom out and after, oh, maybe I should have done that before. Okay, hang on. All right, so we're gonna swoop, swoop, because I only want this on the boots. And shift and combine, lock that to that layer. then we're going to go down here. And you see how that kind of covers up all the work I did, but once we do this, it won't. And then I can mess around with basically the different type of layer of, well, basically how the layer interacts with the layer beneath it. So I can make it look basically like however I want, until I find one that I like. Most of the time I like soft light for texture layers. It's so neat to watch. Yeah, it's neat to do too. It's fun to do. So basically what happens is I like to put it on soft light so you get just the hints of the texture. It's not like full blown, and then it looks much more detailed and textured than if I'd gone in and tried to do it myself, because I've done that before and it takes forever and I don't like the results as much as when I do it like this. And now we're going to image and textures, and let's see, fish hair, metal, modern wood, fish hair, leather, metal, other. No, that's more glossy than I want. That's stone, that's water, that's wood. No. No. Nope. Nope. Oh, now I remember. Okay. So for fabric, normally what I do is I go to this neat little section, which gives me all kinds of crap. And in this case, I'm going to use friction. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then what we're going to do is go over this very lightly, just to create more of a textured appearance. And we're going to go through and basically change the layer mask type until I find a layer mask that I like. In this case, I'm probably going to go with soft light again, just because I like the way that looks. Yeah, I'm going to go with soft light, just because it's just, I don't want it to overtake it. I just want it to be like a hint of the texture. And then you combine, and that's basically how you get a finished look to your color. And normally, again, I do all the base colors first before I do that, but I wanted to show you guys the process by how I would normally do that. And that's, that's how I do it for clothing. When I do it for skin, there's even more steps involved, because skin has different tones to it. Like, for instance, you get like deeper reds or pinks over joints and that kind of stuff. So I'll go in, put down a base color, then and the multiply process, the same as I did here and in the screen, and then I'll add in a couple other processes. Like I'll add in freckles, and then I'll do like blush, like basically where the bone structure would lie really close under the skin, or where your skin would be more pink. And I'll do that, and then I'll add like maybe a texture. It depends on the look of the skin and whether or not it actually looks like skin, and whether or not I actually have to add a texture to it. Now, if I was gonna do something like a Turian, then I use a metal texture, and I don't have to worry so much about like skin tone. But yeah, so that's how you do color. So I think that's gonna be it for this stream, you guys. I had fun, but I've been fighting a headache this whole time, because I didn't eat much today. So I need to go eat something. I'm not sure what yet. I might go out and get a milkshake. Milkshake! I want a milkshake! Alright. Hope you guys had fun. I enjoyed having you here. I've got another art stream planned for tomorrow night. I'm going to have a vote up in the Discord chat. You know what? We're going to go ahead and quit Manga Studio, go to OBS, and then take you here. So I'm going to have a vote up for tomorrow's art stream theme. So you guys can vote on what you'd like to see me draw tomorrow. And then the last art stream of the Red Legion takeover Alchemyprime Studios is going to be on Sunday, Easter Sunday. And you get to vote on whether or not I draw chickens or bunnies. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you guys had a great time here. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, or subscribe if you're watching us on Twitch. If you don't have a link to the Discord, I will definitely send it to you, especially if I know you from Tumblr, which I do, Izzy. So that you can join in and chat with us anytime you want.
It's 21:30.
Yes, thank you, computer. And please remember to watch us on YouTube. We do all kinds of video game Let's Plays. It's mostly us and the gang. It's mostly me and the gang. I haven't been in as many lately just because I haven't had the gas money to get over to Alch to record, but that should change soon. And once the guys get back from their convention up in Seattle, we should be back to making vids, and Alch should be back to doing his Breath of the Wild and Overwatch streams, which fun. All right, so thanks for joining me. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Bye.